The untold story of Henry Ford, the empire built on failure, fear, and mass production. Everyone knows Henry Ford as the man who made cars affordable. That's the story history books love to tell, but the real story is far darker and far more fascinating. Ford didn't invent the automobile. He didn't invent the assembly line. Yet somehow he built one of the most powerful industrial empires the world had ever seen. An empire forged through bankruptcies, legal battles, ruthless efficiency, and relentless ambition. Before Ford became an icon, he was a young farm boy in Michigan who despised manual labor. While others accepted a life behind horses and plows, Henry dreamed of replacing muscle with machines. As a teenager, he spent countless hours taking apart pocket watches, teaching himself mechanics piece by piece. By 16, he had left the family farm for Detroit with one goal: build machines that would never grow tired. His journey was anything but smooth. Ford's first automobile company collapsed. His second company forced him out before it could succeed. Ironically, the remains of that failed business would later become Cadillac, one of America's most legendary luxury car brands. Most people celebrate Ford's victories, but they rarely mention that some of his greatest competitors were born directly from his failures. In 1903, Ford made one final attempt. This time his vision was simple: create a reliable automobile that ordinary people could actually afford. But even then, disaster nearly struck. The company was only weeks away from bankruptcy until its first successful production model generated enough sales to keep the doors open. Surviving financial collapse was only the beginning. At the time, the American automobile industry was controlled by a powerful patent cartel that demanded licensing fees from nearly every manufacturer. Refusing to surrender, Ford challenged the system in court. After years of legal warfare, he helped dismantle one of the industry's biggest monopolies, opening the door for competition and forever changing the future of American manufacturing. Then came the machine that changed history, the Model T. It wasn't simply a cheap car, it was engineered to survive rough roads, harsh weather, and everyday life. But its greatest innovation wasn't found under the hood. It was hidden inside the factory. Inspired by the moving systems used in Chicago slaughterhouses, Ford transformed manufacturing forever. Instead of workers moving to the product moved to the workers. Every employee repeated one small task while the assembly line never stopped. Production time dropped dramatically, costs fell, and automobiles became accessible to millions. It was one of history's greatest industrial breakthroughs, but it came at a price. The same system that made cars affordable also transformed skilled craftsmen into workers performing the same motion thousands of times every day. Productivity reached unprecedented levels, while individuality slowly disappeared beneath the rhythm of the conveyor belt. When employees began quitting in massive numbers, Ford shocked the world by doubling factory wages to $5 a day. Newspapers called him a hero of the working class. The reality was far more complicated. Higher wages reduced employee turnover, increased productivity, and created something entirely new: workers who could now afford to buy the very cars they built. It wasn't just generosity, it was one of the most brilliant business strategies in industrial history. Henry Ford didn't simply build automobiles. He reshaped manufacturing, transformed capitalism, and changed how modern society works. His factories became symbols of innovation, but also reminders of the human cost behind relentless efficiency. The legacy of Ford is far more than chrome, steel, and engines. It's a story of obsession, failure, reinvention, and the relentless pursuit of progress, one that continues to shape the world every time a product rolls off an assembly line. Because sometimes history isn't written by the inventor. It's written by the person who changes everything.